not interested in it. But one of our founding fathers, Abraham Lincoln, once said, there is no escaping history. And today, we are making history. While I was living, I didn't think about 300 years from now, but maybe someday people will be thinking about you. I was born Susanna Barbara Lauer, but I rarely used the name Susanna. I mostly preferred to be called Barbara. Then one day I met this wonderful man named Matthias Tice. Why do I cry? In 1725. We had this dream of going to America someday. First thing we had to do was get rid of all of our possessions. The only thing we could bring was what would fit into one trunk. So we had to choose wisely. So we brought things like pots and pans and tools and our Bible and a few clothes, things like that. Can you imagine what the ship was like? The name of the ship was the Thistle, and by today's standards it wasn't very big. It was ready to go. You got on the ship and you left. You just did what you had to do. When we got to America, we settled in the Myerstown area. Pennsylvania is so much like Germany, and we just loved it here. As soon as we were able to, Matthias cleared the land and built us a beautiful little house. You can still see it today if you go down to Myerstown. Still standing today. Germans kind of have a reputation that when they do things, they do them right. Then Matthias built the house over spring, and the reason he did that was because there were Indians in the area and they didn't really want us here. And some days it was just too dangerous to go outside. So we were kept safe in our little house with the thick stone walls, built over a spring where we could get water, and if we couldn't go out to the necessary house, well, we just used the chamber pot, and we had some food stored in the house, so we just did what we had to do. The boys' names were Michael, Henry, Matthias, John, George, David, and Daniel. Michael was 11 when Elizabeth was born, and Michael was no different. He was a leader, and he needed to be just that after both Matthias and I died. Michael married 2 years after Matthias died. He married Margaretha Reed. They had 10 children, and we are the descendants of his son David. Michael and Margaretha were married for 54 years, and Margaretha lived only 6 months after Michael died. And during the Revolutionary War, Michael served as a major in the 9th Battalion of the Lancaster County Militia. Our family was very involved in our nation's history. Since Michael was in the military, he probably met General Washington at some time when he came through our area. And you know, General Washington later became our first president. We were here for much of his history. Betsy Ross and the flag, Ben Franklin flew his kite with the key. Matthias and I had 67 grandchildren. But that was all after we died. Now, for those of you who thought you didn't like history, what I just told you is your very own personal history. This is our foreparents who lived and died and sacrificed daily, doing whatever had to be done, because that's the way it was. Gradually, with their sacrifices, they laid the groundwork for the wonderful life we have today. I'm so very grateful for that. Someone has said that immigrants are heroes who made an adventure on our behalf. Since I, Barbara, am an immigrant, then perhaps by just doing what I had to do, I became a hero for you.
Hello, my name is Renee Blatt, and my mom is Jennifer, and my grandpa is Lester. I'm the Pennsylvania Honey Queen for this year, and it's my job as Honey Queen to represent the beekeeping industry and promote honey and get people to eat honey and educate people, especially kids, about bees. I'm a beekeeper. I have 6 hives of bees going right now. I started last year. It was my first year. I don't really know how I wanted to be a beekeeper. I just had the idea in my head and I followed through with it, and now I have 6 thriving colonies.
Renee, what you know about Grandpa's bees? You want to use the mic? Yes, she is. Give it the mic. That's right. Okay. Now, Beulah's going to tell you what she remembers about Grandpa and his bees.
The first thing I think that I remember is we would look out and see a big swarm of bees. And And the next thing we would do is we would get pots and pans, start banging and banging and banging on them, so they wouldn't go up in the woods and land on the trees. So they would stay down where Daddy could pick them up. And then he would come out with his bushel basket or whatever it was, and his garb on his head, and shake him into that, and then start a new hive.
Did anybody else know about that Grandpa was a beekeeper? Bonnie says, we concentrate on the chickens all the time. He did all these other things too. But in my time, chickens are the only thing I remember.
Well, the bees were kind of more before all the big chickens.
Guys that didn't badge yet,